Residents living near Deeks Hill Park are one step closer to getting safety lights.
The alarm bells have sounded on child poverty. The report card 2000 is out.
The more people we vaccinate, the greater chance we have of reducing flu-related deaths.
How will the city accommodate 1 million more people over the next 30 years?
According to police, the first snowfall of the season has caused more fender benders than usual.
Members from Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and the Toronto and Provincial Police kicked off their nationwide Red Ribbon campaign Wednesday.
I know it's very hard for young people to realize that in one split second you can just be wiped off the face of the earth.
I'm really not particularly interested in the opinions of journalists who don't bother to interview me before they write about me.
That reaction to a Now magazine article describing Scarborough MPs as liberal losers.
Paramedic training gets a boost in Durham. A Scarborough College gets a new student center, and Lillian Wilkins gets a birthday party for turning 102. I'm Teresa Madalino in the Shaw TV newsroom. They're in the business of saving lives, and now they're receiving the training to make their jobs easier. SPN's Deborah Hutchison reports.
Introduce the sharp into the tube very carefully and then administer the medication down.
It's back to the books for these Durham paramedics. For the next 6 months, this group will be in training, upgrading their skills.
I was brand new and I had a patient that choked on a large piece of meat. And no matter what we did, no matter how hard we tried to get the piece of meat out of his airway, we couldn't do it with the tools that we had. And the patient ended up dying. Brett
McLeod has been a paramedic in the Ajax-Pickering area for 12 years. He says going back to school hasn't been easy, but it's definitely worth it.
If I had the skills that I'm learning now, I would have been able to save him, I'm sure of it.
When Durham Region took over its ambulance services from the province of Ontario back in January, Oshawa was the only community with advanced level paramedics. That service was introduced into the Ajax area back in July and into Pickering just 3 months ago.
The region and Durham College officially launched its Partners for Life program Thursday. The plan is to have an advanced level paramedic on every ambulance in Durham within the next 3 years.
Time is everything when it comes to heart attacks and when it comes to emergency services. If you don't have the training or the ability or the legal right to administer certain drugs and do certain procedures, then we have a problem.
With the higher level of training for the paramedics, when they arrive at the scene, and it's an emergency situation, they can provide the care right on the site, stabilize the patient before they get them to the hospital. That improves the chances for the outcome for the patient, the resident.
The training is intense. Paramedics will divide their time between the classroom, a hospital, and shadowing other advanced level paramedics on the road.
They spend more hours learning how to be an advanced care paramedic than they'll ever put in on the street.
This class will graduate in May, and at least half will be assigned to the Pickering Ajax area. At Durham College in Whitby, Deborah Hutchison, SPN.
Hello, ma'am. We're just doing a ride spot check today. Have you consumed any alcoholic beverages?
Thousands of cars being stopped throughout Scarborough and Pickering are a sure sign the 2000 Festive Ride program is well underway. Officers representing each of the 9 police services across Ontario band together Thursday at the Variety Village in Scarborough to officially launch the program.
We seize their vehicles and still they don't get the message. It's quite simple, really. What part of don't drink and drive don't they understand?
About a third of the people who are dying in fatal collisions have alcohol in their system, and it's my responsibility and officers in the GTA to get those individuals off the road.
The Durham Ride program, including spot checks in Pickering, started November 25th. So far, officers have stopped close to 2,000 cars in the first 2 days, laid 7 alcohol-related charges, issued 12 12-hour suspensions, and have retrieved 1 stolen car.
Most citizens that are stopped are very cooperative. We don't really have a problem with that. And we find the citizens in Durham Region do appreciate the officers' efforts as well as the management of our organization, because they're all volunteers and they're giving up their personal time this very busy season.
Last year, with all the regional police divisions combined, the Holiday Ride program stopped more than 400,000 motorists. And officers say with only a small percentage of those drivers actually being charged, the RIDE program has definitely become more effective over the years. Officers want to remind drivers the message not to drink and drive is always important, and that RIDE does take place all year long.
We intensify it during the holiday period because that's a time when we're talking about families and impaired driving. When it kills a person, causes such devastation in a family, it's important for us to do what we can to reduce that devastation, those awful stories, those horrendous statistics, especially at this time of the year.
Together, police and RIDE sponsors have generated $4 million to promote RIDE and have raised more than $700,000 for children with special needs at the Variety Village. In addition to the various spot checks set up every night until January 1st, there will also be close to 400 units out on patrol. These officers are primarily looking for motorists trying to avoid the RIDE program. At the Variety Village in Scarborough, Jennifer Stanley, SPN.
Police say hypothermia may have caused the tragic death of an elderly man found in the trunk of a car in Scarborough Thursday. There were no signs of foul play. 79-year-old Willem Spearing, who lived in Brampton, was reported missing 3 days ago. Police believe Spearing had been in the trunk of the Plymouth Neon for 2.5 days, alive the whole time. He was rushed to Scarborough Grace Hospital for treatment but did not survive. Police say Spearing suffered from Alzheimer's disease. Police are on the lookout for a gang of teens involved in a home invasion. Investigators say 4 heavily armed teenagers stormed into a house in the Brimley and McNichol area of Scarborough Wednesday night. They roughed up 4 people inside and then fled with jewelry and cash. One victim was treated in hospital for lacerations to the face. No one else was injured in the incident. Police say the men were wearing disguises, but they do know they are looking for 1 white male and 3 other males of Asian descent. 42 division officers have arrested a man who tried to cash a stolen check worth close to $62,000. Police say on Wednesday a suspect went to Money Mart on Victoria Park Avenue and tried to cash in. Police were immediately notified. Charged with possession of property obtained by crime is 31-year-old Christopher Drummond. Some may say this man is on a rare mission. Alan Parker returned a wallet to its rightful owner Thursday. It had $130 in it. 40-year-old Raul Rosales dropped his wallet near a Scarborough bus stop. He's thrilled to have it back. He says he needs the money to take care of his family.
This money was for rent, food. It's very important.
I just believe in returning money right away all the time. People miss money, and it's something that's a personal value, I guess, and I would hope everybody would have that sort of value.
Police say returning the money is a nice gesture, especially at this time of year.
You have a citizen who's unfortunately dropped his wallet just prior to Christmas with a fair amount of money in it, and then another citizen, out of the goodness of his heart, finds the wallet and turns it into police. It is the proper thing to do.
Archibald says Parker sets a great example for the rest of the community.
A games room, the best in computer technology, a bar for special occasions, a luxury boardroom, and a courtyard on the 2nd floor. Just some of the highlights of the new Student Center at Centennial College's Progress Campus. An $8 million project completely funded through students.
So as a minister, to be invited when you haven't put a penny into anything is extremely special.
Minister of Training, Colleges and Universities, Diane Cunningham, was on site to celebrate the grand opening. She says student-funded projects are a sign of the times.
And over the years, basically, the colleges and universities are responsible for building their own student residences. And in many instances, the entrepreneurs, the students have come forward and said, all right, if we have to build it, this is a business.
The concept for a Centennial College Student Center was born 10 years ago. The Student Association wanted to give their peers something they could call their own. Of course, the biggest challenge would be to convince the current student body that they should contribute to something for future students.
We sort of put it to the fact that just because you're going to be leaving doesn't mean you can't come back and use the facilities. I think that was one of the big things was that, yeah, okay, even though I've left the college now, I may come back and take more courses, and I'll know that my money went into this, so I've got the right to use it.
Current students say they have been waiting a long time.
I feel a lot more respected as a student coming to the school. Before the opportunity to come and to study here and to stay after here and complete your assignments and everything wasn't really there, and the student office could only offer so much help.
For the past 10 years, students have been charged $17.50 each semester. Do you think that's worth it?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Yeah, definitely. We want this school to look better than it was, so this makes it look nice.
The building is 34,000 square feet and open 24 hours.
It's great for our association in that it allows us to have a hub that we can deliver vital services to students and to the student life experience within one center that's accessible to everybody at all times.
With all the facility has to offer, college officials are convinced it will have a significant impact on their key performance indicators. While they've been low over the last few years, staff say the new center will give students a better environment to learn in and boost college performance overall. At the Progress campus in Scarborough, Lisa Fender, SPN.
Sir Alexander Mackenzie students sweep the 10th annual No Frills basketball tournament in Scarborough Wednesday night. Sam seniors took on Henry Hudson in the final, beating them 20-14. Later in the evening, Sam juniors came out on top against Ellesmere Staton. The final tally 18-8.
In their leagues right now, they're only playing 4 or 5 games. So with the tournament, they can play 4, 5, 6 games in a night. If you listen in the background, they have a great amount of enthusiasm, and it's a nice opportunity where they can come together and meet other girls from other schools and share their basketball experience and share their sort of sportsmanship and fair play.
We have grown so much, like skill-wise, over the past few months. It's incredible. We're all such good basketball players.
The tournament is organized by students at Agincourt Collegiate. Players say the contest wouldn't have happened without them.
There's wonderful success stories all around the world of communities that really care about their water quality and have taken steps to bring it back to a healthier state. And we have to do that. To do nothing is to really accept water getting dirtier and dirtier and less healthy. And we've seen with the Walkerton situation that if you don't take care of your water, you are threatening your health.
Scarborough residents were invited to brainstorm about how to preserve our waterways for the long term, particularly the Rouge River and Highland Creek. The workshop attracted dozens of people concerned about water quality.
Well, tonight's meeting is looking at the future of our urban streams and whether we can make them fishable, swimmable, drinkable, and healthy, so that the water that goes down to Lake Ontario will be healthy for us to drink, and so that we'll have places to recreate.
We're hoping that at the end, all the renaturalizations and all the projects that we start will be all successful, and our ecosystem will be greatly improved by what we are doing in a working relationship with the city.
The workshops are being held across the city. They also give local residents a chance to find out about existing water conservation programs.
There have been problems in the Ministry of Environment for many years. And if you go back to previous provincial auditors' reports, you will see that the Ministry of Environment has been criticized for a number of years. But again, the difference between this government and other governments is we acknowledge that there is a problem there and that we want to do better.
That reaction from Environment Minister Dan Newman. In response to criticism, his ministry is in disarray and has a hard time dealing with big polluters. Newman says the ministry has taken a number of initiatives to crack down on companies that pollute, but some will always look for loopholes.
There's some people that just, no matter what law you have, are going to flout the environmental laws of the province. So those are the very people that we want to go after. But the vast majority of individuals and companies play by the rules. They want to ensure that the environment is protected. The environment is, after all, the ultimate infrastructure in our province, and we need a well-protected environment. But there are some people that are just not going to abide by the rules, and those are the people that we are after.
Newman says an independent consultant is working on a plan for improvements in the ministry. Ontario firefighters take extraordinary risks and should be recognized. This statement from Marilyn Mashinsky. The Scarborough Centre MPP, pictured here at her constituency office, has tabled a bill that would set aside 1 week every year to honor firefighters. Mashinsky calls firefighters heroes and vital members of the community. If passed, the Ontario Firefighters Week will be sometime in October.
So you're going to blow out your candles, Lillian? Good for you.
Lillian Wilkins was surrounded by family and friends Thursday as she marked a major milestone. The Scarborough resident celebrated her 102nd birthday at the Wexford, a home for the aged.
My younger days, I'd say, oh, I'll never make an old lady, but I made a double old lady.
She's a joker. She's been a wonderful mother. She's just great.
Lillian's advice to the younger generation: enjoy life and just keep smiling.
Isn't that all right?
That's perfect.
The Waterfront Dining Bistro and Bar is a supporter of Shaw TV. The Waterfront, unique, casual, and fine dining. Overlooking beautiful Lake Ontario, the Waterfront offers exquisite seafood and steak combinations, chicken entrees, pasta, and a wide selection of appetizers. Banquet facilities, live entertainment, but most of all, the view. 401 to Liverpool Road. Follow the East Shore Marina signs. If you miss us, you're in the water.
Hi, it's Toby Stiles from the Toronto Zoo. Today on the Urban Safari, we're going to meet some of our feathered friends. And these are the stars of our bird demonstration. Every day at the zoo, our keepers put on a show and show you how some of the most amazing flyers in the world really fly. And I got a little buddy of mine. This is Sydney. This is a frogmouth, a tawny frogmouth. It's a bird from Australia. And it's sort of like our whippoorwill. It's a reasonably nocturnal animal, mostly active at night or early morning, evenings. Has an enormous mouth when it opens up. That's why it's called a frogmouth. And this little guy is actually fairly heavy, but he can swoop through the air, flies virtually silently. He's got special feathers adapted to keep him very quiet. You see he's got enormous big eyes to gather the low light in. And these neat little feathers around his beak which help him detect prey in the air. And he swoops up flying insects. Our whippoorwills and nightjars eat virtually all insects, but these guys are big enough that they will actually eat small mice, lizards, small snakes, things like that. And he was actually hatched here at the zoo. His parents are here in our Edge of Night exhibit, and he's sort of an ambassador for our bird demonstration. But at the bird demonstration, now all these birds, you have to understand that we fly here every day, weather permitting, and it's only the worst days of the winter that we don't fly them, are animals that have been brought into us injured or confiscated. They've been held illegally by someone who thought they'd keep them as a pet. Some of them have been shot, some of them have hit power lines or been hit by cars, and many that we get in like this we rehabilitate and try to release. The ones we have in our bird demo are ones that for various reasons are not releasable. They're too imprinted on people, or their injury allows them to fly a little bit but not enough to actually go out and hunt for a living. And so Dan is going to show us some of the birds that we fly here today. We're going to show you some Harris hawks, which are one of the hawks that kind of interesting. They fly in groups, and you'll find a group of them hunting together. And then the most common bird that you'll see all over Ontario along the sides of highways, sitting on the telephone pole waiting, and that's the red-tailed hawk. And of course, one that needs no introduction, the American bald eagle, which is the great big eagle with the white head. Now, the bald eagle's interesting story is because up till very recently it was an endangered species. But thankfully, to captive breeding in zoos and wildlife centers, it's now just been taken off the endangered list in the United States. It never was really endangered in Canada, but the United States, the continental United States, it had become down to less than 500 pairs nesting. But now there's several thousand pairs. and it's doing very, very well. The bird of prey demonstration, the bird demonstration, is really a remarkable place to come and see these birds, as you won't see them anywhere. Even in the wild, you'll never see them fly this close, because they'll actually, as you sit in the stands, they'll actually fly the birds over your head. You'll have the experience of having an eagle with a 6-foot wingspread just swoop down over your heads, and you'll get some idea of the magnificent flight. Now, what you see Sydney doing here now is way up there someplace. A bird flew over that's kind of scared him, and he's showing you his typical defensive posture, and that's to sit on a branch and freeze solid like a stick. And so he thinks he just looks like a branch, and he blends right in. Of course, sitting on my arm, it's not very good camouflage, but if he was on a tree out in the outback of Australia, that would work really well. So that's the bird of prey demonstration, or the bird demonstration, which goes on every day at the zoo, 7 days a week. In the summertime, we do 2 shows a day, and with Thanksgiving till March break, we do 1 show every morning at 11:30. So come on out and watch it, and learn a little bit more about these birds. Get to talk to the keepers. They'll let you get up close like this and get some pictures of them, and you'll find it really not only educational, but very entertaining. So until next time, for Urban Safari, this is Toby Stiles from the Toronto Zoo, and Sydney the Frogmouth. He's scaring you.
Coast is clear. Okay. It's his turn. I know. Come on. Come bring it. Don't be a chicken. Go. Perfect. Go. Come on. Bring it. Don't be a chicken. Bring it. Do it, man. Do it. Bring it. Go. Go on. Fuck this thing, yeah.
As you may have heard, the CRTC has now approved the exchange of Shaw and Rogers licensed cable areas. In the coming weeks, Rogers will begin its move into your area and become your cable provider. But for right now, it's business as usual. Please continue to pay your cable bills to Shaw Cable. For billing inquiries or technical difficulties, continue to contact your local Shaw Cable office. Rogers looks forward to serving you and to building stronger communities together.